Okay, we're going to move forward. Let's talk about prospect number 19 on the consensus board. And this is a guy who has had explicit industry links to the Twins. And at first, we talked about this, Jeremy, kind of offline. And I was like, I don't get it. And you were like, I do. This makes perfect sense. And this is the second example today of me coming around to your line of thinking, which I don't like one bit. But we're talking about third baseman Xavier Neyens, 18-year-old third baseman out of Mount Vernon High School in Washington, 6'4", 200 pounds. Here's the highlights of the profile. Very much a ton of similarities with Ethan Holiday. Big power, some questions around the hit tool, and a lack of certainty over his long-term defensive home. I think what we're going to see from Neyens is it's a corner profile. He moves well. He has a good arm, so he should fit at third base. There's some things to work on with the approach here. It's been patient to the point of passivity, like think Emmanuel Rodriguez, not swinging and being aggressive enough of pitches in the zone. High handset and a wide base in his stance. And again, there's it's a little bit of a long swing, which I suppose is not that surprising for a guy who's 6'4". But when Xavier Neyens gets into a baseball, this is legit some of the best raw power in the entire draft class. He is another guy, to your point about Fiend, who's going to need to make his living with his bat. We talked about this offline, and you're like, this makes sense as a fit for the Twins for me. It does in terms of range, but what's kind of leading you to that conclusion that Neyens is a guy that kind of adds up for the Twins at 16 if he's on the board?
Yeah, so I think the comparison that I made was the Billy Amick draft pick, right? Where Amick as a prospect in the first round we didn't love because we questioned maybe the ceiling and floor with a college guy. But like I mentioned a little bit ago, the Twins have kind of afforded the opportunity to roll the dice, and Neyens would be one that it would be very high ceiling. Relatively low floor, where you can add a power hitting third baseman, which I don't really know that there's a comp in the. I mean, Winokur, maybe like a Winokur type.
Sure.
But there's more here, and
I think he comes in with a more mature approach and better overall offensive skill than Winokur, if that makes sense. And that's not meant to be disparaging to Winokur.
No, but that's why we're talking about a guy going in the first round versus Winokur who went later. But there's just not really those super high lottery ticket type guys in the system. So I think that's where this makes sense, where again you can afford to I shouldn't say you can afford to miss, because you can't really ever afford to miss, but you've kind of earned the opportunity to take that shot. And that's what you have to do with your system, is you have to complement abilities and kind of fill in, where you can't just have all of the same type of player, because you get to the major leagues and you're not going to be very good, right? You need to have someone that can bat first. You have to have someone that can bat fifth. You have to have those players, right?
Yep.
And Neyens would be a type of guy that it's like he's a cleanup hitter, right? Who's batting cleanup for the Twins right now?
Trevor Larnach? I don't know.
Trevor Larnach's been batting like second or third. Like Brooks Lee's been batting cleanup. And so there's not this type of guy. And if he profiles to be a 40 home run guy, great. Twins don't have those.
Let's put it this way, because I think you put it well. If Neyens hits as in not like hits literally, like hits as a prospect, he's going to be an absolute monster. Like you're talking about like 35 home run power. That's uncommon. And so that is the type of risk you take, especially when, to your point, the Twins have done such a good job of moving guys that they draft into the top 100 just the last 2 days. Kalen Culpepper made MLB Pipeline's top 100 and Baseball America's top 100. So there's another guy getting more kind of looks.